All right. For some reason or another, I guess we're live as live can be. Yellow again, everybody. Randy Hills. And so far, this show has started out goofy because Adam was here. He got us on the air, and then he got us through the countdown. And then it was time for the Talking Memphis Wrestling opening theme. And guess what? It didn't play, and I don't know why. And it looks like Adam is still here, so I do not know what kind of issues we have going, but we do have issues going. It's good to have, for the first time in a while, our Facebook people are back in the house, and we appreciate it very much. First time in a while, and Al Tuttle is watching on Facebook. Richard Hood. Richard, I checked Twitch. We are still on our end on Twitch. Richard says, rest in peace, Phil Hickerson. My buddy Calvin Lindsay Jr. is in the house. Again, first time in a long time. We are live. We are back. We're on Facebook. And we have a sad theme today as we honor the great Phil Hickerson. When God made a heel wrestler, folks, when God made a heel wrestler, you put it in IA or whatever you want, and there's what you get. Big Phil Hickerson. In a few minutes, Michael St. John is going to read the obituary for Phil Hickerson, but won't in order of who got on. We're going to do first take time. For the first time in a long time, I want to welcome back to the show our man. Here he is. Here is Dr. William Rusty Robinson. Quick first take, a lot of video, a lot of stuff. Quick first take. Good to have you back, Doc.
Thank you so much, Randy. It's good to be back. Although under the circumstances with losing Phil Hickerson, he was one of my all-time favorites. But I'm very glad to be here, and thanks for having me again.
The great OG of the show, one of the originals, want to welcome in from Birmingham, Alabama. Here's our man, Pat Trammell, as we have a full panel tonight. Good evening, Pat.
Good evening. We got a full house. I'm very, very excited to see Doc again. I know he's running up and down the Gulf Coast, and good to have Chris on and everybody else. And we never like losing, one of our heroes. And I've done a lot of thinking about Phil Hickerson specifically and the Phil Hickersons of the world. And they're the kind of guys that make the world go round. I was thinking, and I know we've got a lot of really, really great video, better this week than even some other weeks. It's just really, really good stuff. And the list of people that Phil Hickerson wrestled with and put over and carried to the limit, and great tag team with Dennis. I think Chris is going to be on, and I know that's one of his favorite tag teams of all time. But the guy could do everything. I mean, he could do absolutely everything, and it's going to be a real treat to celebrate his life in all this great video you put together for us, Randy. And hello to everybody.
Al Tuttle says, hello, Pat. I know you remember Bob Horner.
Well,
for the Braves.
It is interesting, Al. I almost mentioned that when I was talking about Phil, but yeah, I think you all know I was a WTBS kid, and I watched those pitiful Brave teams that when Bob came and Pascal Perez and a couple others, they started getting a little better. But yeah, I know I'm feeling pretty old when guys in that generation start passing on. But yeah, I remember Bob Horner. And I think I mentioned on one of the social media platforms that they had a game against the San Diego Padres. Pascal Perez was the pitcher, and he hit a couple of them, and so the battle was on, and a tough guy named Champ Summers came to the dugout looking for the pitcher, Pascal Perez, which was Pascal was probably 5'11" and 135 pounds soaking wet. Horner had been injured, and he was up in the broadcast booth. And when the fight started, he went back down in the dugout, put his uniform on, and Summers was coming over, and he stepped up on the top of the dugout and stopped him cold. So, yeah, so a couple of heroes gone today, unfortunately.
For sure. I want to bring in from the South Side school system near Batesville, Arkansas. He's Jonesboro, Arkansas, born and raised. He's the assistant superintendent of South Side School. As Randy West is watching this show tonight, excited about that, but just as excited to do a quick take and talk to the great Chris Ellis. Hey, Chris, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, RH, it's great to be back. Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody. My first take is, as I approach 60 years old, thinking about losing Phil, losing Bob Horner, because I, like Pat, watched TBS back in the day, and then Kyle Busch, because I'm big into racing. So as we get older, they always said it would happen. And then I got my shaved head in honor of my man, Phil Hickerson, today. I don't have the beard. I don't have on my cap because, as I told RH in a text, Phil reminds me of one of my dad's brothers, just a good old country boy that would whoop your ass if you needed it. And I mean, he was legit. I love that guy. And one of my great regrets is I never got to meet him.
Great wrestler, no doubt about it. And a lot of comments about Phil Hickerson. This show is loaded as any show we've ever done. We got 10 videos that features Phil Hickerson coming up, but we want to bring in the final first take of this program. It's certainly not the last take because we have all kinds of stuff going on. Pat Rose said that Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey is his favorite. Gail Brooks says, hello, my friend Randy. Hey, Gail, what's going on with that? We also lost Jerry Gray and Kyle Busch as well. We want to go to Huntsville, Alabama. He's a Alabama Broadcasting Hall of Fame. He's a broadcasting owner. He's a member of the 2024 class of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. He worked with the great Phil Hickerson. First take time, and the most important thing of anything we'll talk about, he is a new grandfather. I think last Thursday, old Joshua has a little brother. Welcome to the show, Michael St. John.
Well, actually, it's a little sister, which makes it
Oh,
even.
I'm sorry.
Alexis Faye was born last Thursday at 12:55, and it's awesome. But I got to tell you, my lovely wife Melanie, and I know you knew it was happening. She loves Joshua just like I do, but now she's got that little girl, and now she's got that little girl that she can put on a horse, and she can do all little girl things with, and she is over the moon. And so we are very excited. I was maybe later on I can pop a picture up there of us with her, but she's doing fine with the doctor today. She's a big little girl. She was 6 pounds, 15 and a half ounces, and 21 inches long. So she's a big girl, but we're very excited. Thank you for saying that. As far as the first take, we're doing too many of these. My dad used to say, and I've quoted it on this show before, you're getting old when you go to more funerals than you do weddings. And that's certainly the case. But how ironic was it, or how ironic the world is and God is, that he would take two of one of the best tag teams that ever came down the pike, period. Forget about Memphis wrestling. Let's talk about America. Let's talk about the USA. Let's talk about even worldwide. Two of the best wrestlers to make a tag team in the history of professional wrestling, Dennis Condrey and Phil Hickerson. and he takes them within a couple of months of each other. So it is ironic. It's sad. We're doing too many of these, but we certainly have a lot to talk about with a great wrestler in Phil Hickerson.
Now, one thing that I want to do is, as Adam goes through the pictures of Phil Hickerson, before we get to what your reading assignment today, Michael, what I want you to do, and I'm checking these comments, I want to say hello to Associate Minister Reserve Deacon, who hadn't been around in a long, long time. He says hello to you, and also John from YouTube says, I've been watching Phil Hickerson interviews all week. Lance Russell was getting on to him, how he beat somebody up, and he said, well, boo, boo, boo. And that's typical Phil Hickerson. So Adam, try to go with the pictures as Michael St. John give, not personal memories. We'll get to that later. Not the obituary. That's coming up next. But just have Michael start talking about Phil Hickerson, and then go ahead and run the pictures as he gets going. And here solo with me off the screen is Michael St. John.
Thank you, Randy. And to the rest of our panel, on behalf of the rest of our panel, we send our condolences and our love to Phil Hickerson's family, surviving his passing. 79 years old, also got into broadcasting after his wrestling career, which was ironic. It was a great morning show in Jackson, Tennessee for about 12 years. But the passing of Phil Hickerson, age 29, he died at home on May 20th, 2026, last Wednesday. He was born in Humboldt, Tennessee, October 4th, 1946, to Jesse Oliver and Bobby Ruth Henderson. He lived in Idlewild, Bradford, and Memphis, Tennessee growing up. Graduated from Whitehaven High School and joined the Marine Corps in 1964. Phil met his future wife, Anita, while she was working in Washington, D.C., and he was stationed at Quantico, Virginia. They were married January of 1967, made their home in Memphis, Tennessee. They moved with their son, Terry, to Jackson, where their daughter, Catherine, was born later on. Phil began his wrestling career with a co-worker from Owens Corning. He started wrestling in 1971, wrestled until 1996, actually did a few shows even after that. He wrestled in many states and many territories, including Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Indiana, Kentucky. He also worked a while in Canada and in Japan. He also worked in Texas with Jerry Jarrett once he bought the Von Erichs out. Phil was preceded in death by his grandparents, his brother Terry Lee Henderson in 2015, his son Terry G. Henderson in March of 2021, and his brother-in-law Jim Boderman in 2025. He is survived by his wife, Anita of Henderson, daughter and son-in-law, Catherine and David Weisenfloof of Jackson, grandchildren, Kimberly Weisenfloof of New York, David Weisenfloof II of Murfreesboro, and Anna Weisenfloof of Jackson, sister Judy Williams of South Carolina, half-brother Michael Palmtree, whose wife is Sherry, of Mississippi, sister-in-law Laura Kidder of Hastings, Michigan, nephews Mike Bader and David Bader, nieces Sherry and Angie, longtime friend Shane Connor, and many cousins and friends. He is survived by his Labrador Retriever, Hershey. Phil was a member of the Sanford Hill Baptist Church. A celebration of life for Phil Hickerson will be celebrated this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Sanford Hill Baptist Church. Visitation will begin at 11 until the service at 2 p.m. Rest in peace, our friend and great wrestler, Phil Hickerson.
Thanks for doing that, Michael. Thank you very much, and appreciate that. Adam, if you would go ahead and put slide up 5692, you mentioned that Phil, after the wrestling went away, became a radio personality. He and Shane Connors, and that picture's there. And of course, we know you're a wrestling person. Radio came first before wrestling, but you're certainly a wrestling person as well. Brandon Baxter, a wrestling person first, then a wrestling guy. And Phil Hickerson owned Jackson, Tennessee. They called him the King of Jackson. One thing, Michael, I didn't know till I read that obit was that Phil was originally from Memphis. I did not know that. Why do you think there have been so many people? And now, of course, we have the 24-hour a day, 7 days a week busted open, and that's radio guys that are like Bully Ray and Mark Henry and Tommy Dreamer. And why do you think Phil and others have been so successful in your business?
Well, first of all, they have an ability to talk. I mean, we go back to Jackie Fargo on KWAM in West Memphis, Arkansas. He was a DJ. You go back and Jerry Lawler spent some time on the radio. Look at people like Jimmy Cornette. And I mean, we can go on and on and on. And Phil Hickerson, they're acclimated to talking on a microphone. And there are a lot of people that get scared to talk on a microphone. Well, wrestlers, they're certainly not scared. From the day they start training, they learn how to do promos. They know how to put themselves over. They know how to talk. And I think it's a natural. I think it's a great benefit to have started in wrestling, speaking extemporaneously without notes. You go on the radio, you may have a game plan, but you're talking off the top of your head most of the time. I think it's just parallel universes that merge and blend very well together.
Hey, we're back to normal here, folks. I've already mentioned it several times. I did a preview at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and man, I can tell you right now, the last maybe 6 weeks, I had issues on Restream where it wouldn't let me broadcast to Facebook. Facebook is my biggest platform. I have 5,200 Facebook friends plus twice that many of followers. It's by far my biggest platform, and as well as the other platforms we have, and our numbers here are good. We appreciate it very much. Michael, will you look at your notes again? The last part of that obituary, I think that's what Gail's asking. Will you once again tell everybody where the services will be?
Yes, and in fact, I've been in contact with a fellow friend here that we may drive up Saturday to the maybe if not to the services, certainly to the visitation, because it's not a long drive from Huntsville, that's for sure. But a celebration of life in honor of Phil Hickerson will be at 2 o'clock Saturday at Sanford Hill Baptist Church. That is in Henderson, Tennessee, I believe. And the visitation will begin at 11 with the service at 2. It doesn't say Sanford Hill. It says Sanford Hill Baptist Church, but I'm a little, because of the way the obituary is written, I don't know if it's in Henderson or if it's in Jackson. I'm sure one of our listeners will be able to clear that up. But
that's where he was living, in Henderson.
Henderson, that's what I think. And I think that church is in Henderson, but it's the Sanford Hill Baptist Church. And the service will begin at 2, but visitation will begin at 11. By the way, I think this is a very nice thing that people are doing now. They're having the visitation at the church. And especially for people that are older, used to, you'd have to go to a funeral home, then you have to go to the church, or you have to go to the cemetery. Now it's all sort of, and I think COVID had something to do with this. It sort of brings everything together. And I think it's very, very honorable and the right thing to do by having the visitation at the church.
And Adam, our producer, has confirmed the address. It's 644 Stanford Street in Henderson, Tennessee, 38340. And before the end of the show, we'll have Michael once again give that information. Quick response. I want to start in order. I want to start with Rusty. Rusty, as Michael read that obituary there, did you learn anything new about Phil Hickerson from that obituary?
Yes, I did. I did not realize that Phil had spent so much of his formative years in Memphis. Graduated from high school at Whitehaven High School in Memphis, which has been there for many years. I guess I just assumed he was always from Jackson. So that was something I learned. The other point I was going to make, I agree with Chris that one of Phil Hickerson's or one of his charms, or one of the things that made him stick out, was that he reminds almost everybody of somebody else they knew. In other words, everybody knew, the big redneck tough guy, be it their uncle or the guy, at the garage or the guy at church or the guy, whoever it was. Seems like everybody knew somebody that Phil reminded them of. And I think that was part of why he was so popular in Memphis.
Very good thoughts, and we'll go to Pat Trammell. Pat, with that obituary, did you learn anything? I didn't know that Phil's son Terry, who I knew as well, he passed away a couple of years ago. Big old guy. His nickname was Tiny. Did you learn anything new from that obituary?
Well, I didn't know about his son passing away, but no, I also didn't know. I assumed he was always from Memphis, and Whitehaven was a fancy school back in the day. So, but yeah, I'll echo what Rusty says, and I love these are the wrestlers. These are the heels of my childhood. Phil reminded me as a type of heel wrestler of the Greens. He was in that class with the Greens. Tough guy, grease back hair. You know, kick your ass, doesn't want to know your name, and then just get on back out of there to the VFW. That's my kind of wrestler right there.
My kind of wrestler as well. Chris, that obituary, what did you learn?
Well, I guess because I first remember him when I was 7 years old. It said he had a career. He worked at Owens Corning and started wrestling with a coworker, and I found that interesting because in my life, Phil Hickerson was a wrestler. Then he quit. Then he came back to be a wrestler. So I had no idea that wasn't what he always did. I learned that about him for sure.
All right, give you a little information before we get to the video that Phil Hickerson passed away at 79 years old. He started training to be a wrestler. I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast about that, and Jimmy was not sure if it was Herb Welch or Buddy Fuller that trained him. A lot of guys during that year or two time period, including Danny Davis and including David Schultz and so many people trained in that area. Phil made his Memphis debut in June of 1974. He quickly won the Southern Tag Team Championships with Big Al Green. What a rough looking team. Now, Adam, on the pictures, the last two pictures that I uploaded later this evening is of Phil and Al. And if we can go to those pictures, this is Big Al Green, this is Big Phil Hickerson, and this is manager Sam Bass. And certainly the first heel teams that I remember the interns, I remember the Von Bronners, then Phil starting in 74, Phil Hickerson and Al Green, and I think there's one more picture of the three of them together, and just a mean looking guy.
That's great.
I wish I had a picture of that.
They look like they can kick your ass.
Randy, send me that.
Now, is that picture of them just waking up in the morning, or they've been on a 3-day drunk?
They're probably on a 3-day drunk, especially. I won't even say what I'm thinking. I won't go that far. I won't disrespect anybody here. And normally I'll take shots at people. Man, it's sad, Michael. This was just such a great tag team. A great tag team for sure. We lost Sam first, then several years ago, and probably 2009, I'm not sure, lost Al. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Dennis Condrey, we lost him recently, and we lost Phil just a little bit ago. But we'll start with you, Michael. Was that before your time in the business? Or I know as a fan,
As a fan, no, it definitely was right in my wheelhouse. And of course, in 1976, I had the opportunity to do the first television match I ever did for Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler at the Cook Convention Center. They taped on a Wednesday night, and I don't think Phil was on that particular card, but I got to know Phil once I went to work for Nick Goulas. And the thing I remember most fondly about those guys is they weren't your prototypical wrestler you see today. They didn't have that bodybuild look, but they had that mean guy look. And
Yeah.
so much of wrestling has changed that mean guy. You know, everybody can be a mean guy. Everybody can be a babyface. Everything is diluted now. But back in those days, you could look on the screen without even having an announcer, and you know who the mean guy was, and you know who the babyface was. I mean, it was obvious. But I think the thing that I think we need to realize right now as survivors of a great era of wrestling is that we have probably done a disservice to our industry by not giving the kudos to the tag teams that really paved the way for what the big industry of professional wrestling became. And by golly, Phil Hickerson and Al Green and Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey were right there building those blocks back in the day. So if anything, we owe a debt of gratitude, not only of our affection to their passing, but a debt of gratitude for them bringing the business to where it is by building the kind of foundation they did back then.
Now, Shane, I owed him, and I know Adam put it up on the screen. I want him to put it on the Shane's question up on the screen again, and we'll start with me. But the question is, who would you say was Phil Hickerson's best tag team partner? To me, it was spoiler Frank Morrell. Of all his tag team partners, the person that I was closest to, without a doubt, personally, was Frank Morrell, the spoiler. However, I would say his best tag team partner would have to be, I think everybody will say it, because I think it's the best heel team I've ever seen in my life. Better than any version of Midnight Express, better than so many teams. I think Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey. Because there was a time I was just getting involved in wrestling, I'd have to say Al Green and Phil Hickerson. I think Al Green, he's the only wrestler as a kid. He's the only wrestler as a kid when he turned on Eddie Marlin in Jonesboro, Arkansas, after switching babyface. A month later, he turned on Eddie Marlin. And when he walked back to the dressing room, he walked past me, and I was probably 10 or 11 years old. It wasn't very hard, but as hard as I can hit him, I punched him in the back as hard as I could do it. And he turned around and gave that look. And certainly, Chris, you can relate to this. He looked at me, and in 15 seconds, I was across Washington in what was there now it's a dialysis center, but right now, back then it was a used car lot. In 15 seconds, I went out of that building, crossed the street. Lucky I wasn't killed by Al Green or a car out of control. I was scared to death. And then in 1994, he was one of my first people that I wanted in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. How, real quick, and we have as packed as any show we've ever done. So the question is, from Shane, is who was your favorite? And I know your answer. Who was your favorite Phil Hickerson partner?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dennis Condrey, because Dennis Condrey is the greatest tag team wrestler of all time. That's Chris Ellis's 2 cents. But you put him with Phil, you put him with David Schultz, you put him with Bobby. He's the greatest tag team wrestler. So therefore, him and Phil, that'd be Phil's greatest partner. By the way, Randy ran across the road to Al Hendricks Oldsmobile dealership. Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
That's a long time ago, RH. That's a long time ago.
He's been for a long time. Real quick take on that question that Shane had asked. Who would you say Phil's best tag team partner was? Quick take, Rusty.
Oh, it's got to be Dennis Condrey. Although, when Phil teamed with Jerry Lawler, in the later on in the 80s, that wasn't bad. When they were doing the King of Memphis and the King of Jackson, that worked pretty well too. But I'll still go with Dennis Condrey.
Okay, we'll go with you, Pat.
I think that's naturally what he's known, and I've seen most of that for. I made a smart comment on social media when Dennis died that when I get old, I just want to sit around and watch Dennis and Bobby wrestle all the time on YouTube for the rest of my life. But I think I'd like to bring Phil and Dennis in there too. I mean, the guy. But let me say this: I'm not. I'm not putting anybody else down because the thing about Phil Hickerson is he made everybody look good.
Yeah, he was just one of the best heels I've ever seen. He didn't travel all over the country. He was a Memphis and a Jackson boy, no doubt. What's your opinion first? Quick take on Phil's best acting partner, Mike.
Oh, I think without a doubt, Dennis Condrey. And I would argue to say in our territory, they were the best non-mask heel team ever as far as heat goes, because they could walk. They wouldn't even have to open the dressing room door and they had heat. And that's how good they were together. And Condrey and Hickerson, I mean, those to me, if you go online and look up American Tag Team Wrestling heels, there should be a picture there of Dennis Condrey and Phil Hickerson, without a doubt.
Real quick, we're going to go through these pictures, and we start with 56.95. Start with 56.95, and we go to 56. Oh, we start at 56.95, and then we get out of order, and we end with 56.96. But Adam, if you could go, I think we might have already shown that once, and we did. Phil Hickerson, 1946 to 2026. Of course, died at 79 years old, the great Phil Hickerson. Next picture. This is from the Nick Gulas Mid-America Wrestling site, which I steal a lot of stuff from them to put on this show. So sad to hear of the passing of Phil Hickerson, and Phil was a major part of the Gulas territory in the 70s, teaming with Al Green as one half of the Sherman Tank, named by Tojo Yamamoto. So they wasn't billed as that, and more famously as one half of the Bicentennial Kings with Dennis Condrey. Rest in peace. And I think Michael wanted to say something.
Yeah, that's a misconception. They were not ever known as the Sherman Tanks. That was in an interview that Tojo Yamamoto and Jackie Fargo made on Channel 2 that made it through the bicycle. And Tojo said they're like two tanks. Their names are Sherman and Septic. And that was how that all came about.
That's right. Great.
Next picture. This is the most famous race of all time, and here to describe who is winning, who is losing. However, Phil tells me that picture was taken at the beginning and he started in third spot. I have no proof of this, but Phil, with Phil with a face like that, do you think he'd lie to me? Of course he would. He says he wins the race, but go ahead and do a play-by-play, Michael St. John, of what's going on in this picture. Here's Michael St. John.
Oh, Lance Russell has the lead on the first turn. Tojo on the inside second. And, of course, in third place at that point in time was Phil Hickerson, who later, according to Phil Hickerson, won the race.
All right. Quick take on that picture. Quick take, Pat Trammell.
I'm just thinking, I wish I had a pair of sweet pants like Lance has on. Those are awesome right there.
That's for sure. Thanks for everybody watching Talking Memphis Wrestling. Quick take on this picture, and have you ever seen it before, Rusty?
Yes, I have seen that before. And the thing I love about it so much is you can tell how much fun they're having. You can just look at Lance's face and Tojo's face and Phil's face. They're really enjoying that. So, and that's great. We didn't necessarily get to see them, in that setting very often. So that's a great picture.
Chris?
Yeah, I've seen the picture before, and what comes to mind to me is the fact that Tojo and Phil were heels possibly during that era. I'm not sure. And they were out in public having such a good time for everyone to see, because that didn't happen back in those days.
I'm sure it was a time when Phil was babyface, because that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Okay. So he was definitely babyface during this time with Lance and Tojo. Got you.
And Pat says, and I did not know this, Pat says that picture, so then I can't answer who was heel, who was baby face, but Pat Rhodes says that picture was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, as we lose that picture. And just, does anybody else want to comment, any of the panel members, real quick comments on that picture? Any of you guys? I guess not. We go with the next picture. As we see Phil, we saw that earlier, as his radio career with Shane in Jackson, Tennessee. Next picture. This is several pictures of the Bicentennial Kings. This one before they were called the Bicentennial King. I would guess this is in 1975. This is Dennis Condrey and Phil Hickerson. Next picture. And I don't know where that was located. This is at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. This was in 1977. This is Dennis Condrey and Big Phil Hickerson. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling, as we're remembering Big Phil Hickerson, another picture of Hickerson and Condrey. They've taken their lumps and they've scooted out of the ring and they're out of there. Next picture. As the Southern Tag Team Champions, I believe this was in 1977, a short period of time where Rock Hunter, they was a manager of Hickerson and Condrey. You just keep going until we're out of pictures, and certainly, again, you can tell what tag team I like and what tag team there's a lot of pictures of. Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey. As we continue on talking Memphis wrestling, as we see if there's anything else after that picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. And
that last picture, by the way, those belts are gorgeous. There are not any belts that are made like that anymore. Those are fabulous belts.
And that's the first series of belts I'm sure Chris saw and I saw. And it was one of my first jobs before I became ring announcer. It was my job to go get the ring jackets. I didn't get paid, but the ring jackets and the belts, and take it down to the timekeeper. And I used to do you remember the timekeeper's name in Jonesboro? Shame on you if you don't.
No, Randy, I cannot recall right now.
W.T. Shelton.
Yes. Yeah, so, W.T. Yeah.
Randy, do you know where those belts are?
I have no idea. And that's my favorite Southern Tag Team Championship belts of all time. I have absolutely no idea. And of course, the last picture was.
I think, if I may interrupt here, I believe George Goulas has those belts now, because they were in Nick's office even when I started. They weren't being used anymore, but I think they were. I remember them in a case back in those days, and my guess would be George may have those.
That's a good comment there. And if there's any more pictures up there of Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey, and I think that's the final one. And we will have a video that Michael St. John had a lot to do with, was co-host of the show. When Phil Hickerson became Phil Hickerson, and the tagline there, we're not going to blow it. We're not going to blow it right now. Phil, Chris, you like it so much. I don't want you to blow it. I don't want you to
I'm not saying a word. I just can't. I can't see that picture. I looked right at Michael. I can't see that picture without looking at Michael.
And that's the last video we'll show.
And I got to tell you, I found out where that name came from. And comments are I'm going to give quote to Jimmy Cornette. And Tojo named him P.Y. Chuhai because Tojo's name when he broke in the Carolinas was Chuhai. Was that right?
P.Y. Shaw.
P.Y. Shaw. Yeah. Okay, P.Y. Chu. So that's where the name came from. Who would have thought it?
That is for sure. Man, I think people enjoy this show. And Richard, just stand by. We got a lot of video. You're asking if I remember when Hickerson took on the Ultimate Warrior. More on that a little later on. Again, we have 10 videos to show. We have a pretty from 1976. And guys, I looked all over the place for video of Hickerson and Condrey as a tag team, and I flat out could not find it.
Hmm.
However, finally did. This is Hickerson and Condrey against Bill Dundee and Tojo Yamamoto in 1976. It's 2 minutes, 26 seconds in length. Rare Hickerson and Condrey tag team against Dundee and Tojo, 1976, as we watch now on Talking Memphis Wrestling as we remember Bill Hickerson.
Bill Dundee, kicked off of there by Phil. As Dundee, who has been rattled around in pretty good fashion by the champions, Condrey and Hickerson, reversed it with a flying press off the turnbuckle. But he needs in a desperate way to get a tag on Tojo Yamamoto right now. Oh, the big elbow from Condrey. Condrey, sensing a victory, is hurled off right into referee Jerry Calhoun. Big broad arm by Phil Hickerson. There's a tag on Tojo. The referee still down. Tojo nails.
Look how those heels are bumping. Look how over Tojo's comeback is.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Puts him down on a canvas. Tags Bill Dundee. Dundee over the top rope.
Oh, that's such good work. That is such good work.
Great finish.
Bill Dundee, Tojo Yamamoto have won the NWA Southern Tag Championship belts. The $5,000 remains in Yamamoto and Dundee's possession, and once again, Billy Dundee and Tojo Yamamoto are co-holders of the title.
6 feet tall, sitting on each other's shoulders.
They held it separately with other partners, but this is the first time that Dundee and Yamamoto having themselves
That became later in 1976. Dundee switched babyface in about September or October of 1975, and near late December, early January of
and Dennis Condrey.
75. And people going crazy with Hickerson and Condrey, and one of the Hills' job is to make the baby faces, and the Hills can't win every week, and the baby faces can't win every week. And if you notice, guys, Hickerson and Condrey, who got beat, had more heat walking out of that building getting beat than any heel you'll see today. If they smash the top star for 10 minutes and just beat them clean, they won't have the heat that Hickerson and Condrey, because everybody believed that. Real quick thoughts starting with Pat on seeing Hickerson and Condrey as a tag team against Tojo and Dundee. Quick comments. We'll go with Pat, Rusty, then Chris, then Michael.
Just, great match. But I mean, four people that are just on top of their game. I mean, just that's what I saw there.
All right, then we'll go with Rusty next, I guess.
Oh, I got to agree with Pat. They were all really sharp. When Tojo jumps in there and starts chopping them all, he's not really doing much physically, but the crowd loved it. Everybody just ate that up. He didn't really have to move around hardly, but everybody loved it, and they loved it in part because Dennis and Phil were, bouncing around for him so good. It was terrific.
Chris?
Well, when I was talking about Phil on social media the other day, there were people saying they weren't familiar with him. Well, if you didn't grow up in the Southern Territories, you can't appreciate that right there. 7,000 or 8,000 people all focused and on the edge of their seat and invested in that match because of those four guys. Outstanding. And then to know how good an athlete Dundee is, to pull yourself over the top rope, do a flip, and roll him up that's very athletic to be able to do that.
No doubt about it. Pat Trammell, Hickerson and Condrey, the Bicentennial Kings against Dundee and Tojo. Quick thoughts.
You mean Michael? I went first.
Oh my! So we're waiting for Michael, right?
Yep.
Here we
I
go.
know we're hard to tell apart.
Hey, we're brothers for sure. Hey, first of all, I think Randy made the greatest comment possible about that particular film match right there, in that the heels sold. They sold and they sold. But the key, and something you never see today, is the heels selling after the finish. They were
Yeah,
selling as
that's
strong
right, exactly
after
right.
the finish
Yeah.
as they were during the match. Can anybody at any of the big wrestling companies understand that psychology?
No, they're dumb. They're not trying to convince people something's real.
Right.
That's not. I could get in a. Adam came by this weekend, and we watched a 5-hour pay-per-view from AEW. And be honest, the main event with MJF and Darby Allin was a great main event. They did some kind of stadium stampede match, was the most phony bullshit that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was horrible. I spent $40 daggum dollars on that pay-per-view when I could have spent $3 and been at the Coliseum that night and saw a hell of a lot better show, no doubt about it. So we looked at 1976, and now we're going to skip all the way to 1984. But I want to tell you that Phil Hickerson debuted in 74, and then early 80s, he got injured. He did other stuff. He went away. 1983, Jerry Jarrett ended up not booking any longer because Jerry Lawler did his power play, and Lawler booked 83 and a lot of 84. Jarrett was going to come back, and Jarrett, the first phone call he made was to Phil Hickerson because he remembered the glory days. And he called Phil Hickerson and put Phil with one of the mainstay heels of the Mighty Yankees and so many other teams, and he wrestled as the spoiler. Frank Morrell as the spoiler and Phil Hickerson. This goes to 1984 after the Fabulous One, Stan and Steve, was fired by Jerry Lawler. Lawler made the decision to make Tommy Rich and Eddie Gilbert the new Fabulous Ones. Then later on, when Jarrett put Phil Hickerson and the spoiler together, he dropped the Fabulous One's name from Rich and Gilbert and just Rich and Gilbert. This is a hell of a 6-minute, 44-second highlight video from '84 of a street fight with Rich and Gilbert, spoiler, and Hickerson. As we watch now, it's 6 minutes, 44 seconds on Talking Memphis Wrestling. The gang will be back after this 6 minutes, 44 seconds.
Of professional wrestling are right here.
And here comes Lawler.
Oh, we got to listen to this. This is good stuff, too. I hope I have the right darn video here. We'll see.
From the archives of professional wrestling history.
Oh, my God.
It's the best of classic wrestling. Matt
And
Mayhem.
the dream comes true.
Miss Elizabeth. Before she was Miss Elizabeth in the WWF. Michael, you're like me. You like a pretty woman. She's a pretty woman.
Beautiful lady, sweet as could be. Horrible ending to her life.
Bunkhouse Brawl. And we watch this match now. Street fight. Randy Hill's commentary. Yay!
Really busted bad. Hickerson, who had the chain a few minutes ago, really put it to Rich.
Hello, PJ. Hello, Jane. Richard. Richard, I don't know who made that beautiful belt. I'm sorry.
The situation with this, as evil as Hickerson and the spoiler is, they have the advantage, you would think.
Get him, Eddie.
Gilbert gets our microphone stand. Look, as a weapon. We better tie everything down around here, Lance, because they're liable to use anything. And he caught him with that stand from the table. Oh, my goodness. Put Hickerson down. Nailed the spoiler. Hickerson coming up from behind. And
Remember Phil Hickerson on Talk to Memphis Wrestling tonight.
the referee
Rich and Gilbert,
turning the
the
microphone
spoiler
stand.
Frank Morrell, and Big Phil Hickerson.
Rich, a bloody mess. He knew what he was getting into when they signed the match. Hickerson, once again, who's toughest in this type of match. Rich is here now, soaking with blood. It's red. Now they're taking the action out of the ring. Hickerson pulls Rich out and sends him over to the table. Oh, right in to the announcer table. Tommy fell right on top of the announcer stand. Caught with it, Hickerson, as we back up. Rich, a bloody mess, blood all over the table. Sends Hickerson into the table. Phil sent in, and Hickerson busted open. Caught again. They're going into the front row ringside. Look out. Hickerson busted. Rich going after him.
Bo says that on Tommy and Doug's podcast, Wildfire said this is one of his favorite programs. He loved Frank and Phil.
Hickerson about as bad as Rich, Lance. Rich right on him. A brawl, nothing less is.
I don't know what. There we go.
Rich drops on him. Gilbert going after the mask of the spoiler, trying to take that mask off. Oh, caught him. Rich and Hickerson. Rich fighting.
Summer of 1984. The spoiler is Phil Hickerson, Tommy Rich, and Eddie Gilbert.
In this no disqualification, Tennessee.
You don't see that spot, a pile driver attempt into a backdrop. You don't see that anymore, Michael.
No, you don't. It takes a special person to do it.
Rich and Hickerson returning to the ring. Puts him in. Hickerson knocked down to the canvas. Man, oh man, when have you seen a bloody mess like this? Huh?
And I mean, they are just killing each other. Give and take, back and forth. Look at that. Rich just kicked Hickerson right in the face. And with a boot, the spoiler nails Eddie Gilbert, hit him with that big heel, and goes behind Rich and knocks him down.
That is awesome how he's doing that.
Spoiler has Eddie Gilbert's boot. Took it off of Eddie, and he's really pounding away at Rich. Goodness gracious.
Pretty Phil.
Hickerson about out, Lance.
The Crimson Mask.
Rich gets his boot off. Nailed Hickerson. Gilbert sends Spoiler over the top rope.
That boot busted Eddie's face wide open, his right eye right in the eyebrow above it. Look at here, pile driver on the concrete.
Spoiler down, and I'm sure out because I can't see him getting up from that pile driver on the floor. Gilbert bleeding, Rich bleeding.
Thank you.
What is this, Lance?
What's he got there?
Rich has put on a mask. Tommy Rich has put a mask.
Gilbert, I saw him throw him something. He must have that mask loaded up.
It's
with
a loaded
piece of
mask.
steel or something. Rich standing on the second rope in the corner, and here he is. Wham! Hickerson right down. 1, 2, 3.
A victory! 8-28. A victory to Tommy Wildfire Rich and Eddie Gilbert.
Paul Morton, the quickest 3 count in the South.
Agreed.
Quick takes of that classic, unbelievable thing. We'll go Michael, William, Pat, then Chris.
You don't see things like that anymore.
Boy.
I'm sorry. You don't even see that in MMA. I'm sorry. That's a brawl. It was a match that people were crazy about. And what a great finish. I mean, and think about this. The baby faces use a heel tactic to win the match. What
And
a
the
simple
people in the audience go banana.
Exactly. What a simple finish. It's not overcomplicated. There wasn't a lot of twisty doos and flying off the top rope and into the stands and off the balcony and all that crap. It was in the ring a couple of times on the floor, beating the crap out of each other. People loved it. Sells tickets.
Real quick, thoughts, Rusty?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. You don't see that kind of match. In fact, you don't even see like a street fight, quote street fight where you come in your street clothes. Come on, I haven't seen one of those in probably decades.
It's because real wrestling went away, boys. Real
True.
wrestling went away. Pat, that match.
Something of a mild criticism here that just speaks to how good Phil Hickerson was. I've always felt Tommy Rich's top was based on who he was wrestling. If he wasn't wrestling anybody any good, you didn't have a very good match. That was one of the best Tommy Rich matches I've ever seen, and it's all Phil.
Chris?
Well, I didn't see any swantons or I didn't even see any wrist locks. But if you grew up in the South and like there was a picture of Condren Hickerson standing in front of some paneling earlier, and somebody mentioned the VFW, growing up with my dad, going to those kind of places, that's the kind of stuff you would see right there. And the people, yeah, right there. That was taken in a VFW or American Legion somewhere.
Look at that press paneling.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's where that photo was taken. If you grew up going in those places, you saw guys that fought like that fight right there. That was just a damn brawl bar fight. That's all that was. People loved that. People loved it.
I love it. I love it.
$2.99 a sheet at 84 lumber, right?
For sure. This next video, I'm not going to set up. I'm just going to tell you it was late 85, early 86. And this is just a very interesting video. And again, it's late 85, early 86. And this was a point where Jerry Jarrett was bringing some new people in and brought them in as baby faces, switched them heel because he thought, I got to do something else with these guys because they can't work. 4 minutes, 54 seconds, 4:54. Let's watch this video. Hopefully Adam can find it so I don't have to introduce what it is. 4:54 is the time of this video on Talking Memphis Wrestling Today.
You've been at the top of the card yet with some of the top guys. It's Phil Hickerson. And
well, it takes a little time, Jim. I mean, this doesn't happen overnight.
Well, we understand we're a little green and new to the area and stuff like that, but when you take into account what we look like, our physiques and the rock hard muscle that we're carrying, that should add up to some of the disadvantages compared to the fat people, the king of all the fast food restaurants, Jerry Lawler, and Phil Hickerson. Spends his days. He never goes to the gym, never seen the inside of a gym.
Yeah, but he's held a lot of titles now. Let me make that difference right there. That Hickerson, and I have always agreed with him, but the son of a gun has been at it a long time, Jim. And you and Steve, I think, got to take that in
Listen closely.
I think they're probably in a hurry, Phil, and
I got to tell you, man, I ain't got nothing against you, And since y'all been here, I've been trying to hit y'all, I've been talking to everybody. You ain't got no right to come out here and say, hey, I had to see the inside of a gym, and I'm fat, and then I said, you don't have no right to say that. Let me tell you something. You know the reason why you had to wrestle against Lawler and any, like Dundee, Mantell, myself, or Coco, the reason you two have not wrestled in them matches because you're green and you don't know how to wrestle. The only thing that you know how to do, brother, is to pull them fritches down and put them steroids in that booty. That's the only thing that you two idiots know, and you know it. Where you coming from?
had a feeling he was shooting.
22 and charm, I'll put your head in there and smash it like a rotten tomato. Don't scare me one damn bit, brother, because one thing about it, I can wrestle, and I can fight, and that's something that you can't do. You cannot do either one, and that's the reason why you're going to reach wrestling in the first and
Was
second.
he wrong?
All right, Phil. I think they heard it out there. I think they got the point.
You don't have no right to come out here and say anything about anybody, brother.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of rights. All the help and stuff that you can. That's right. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now, boy. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, come on. Hey,
There you go.
Phil. Jim Hellwig and Phil Hickerson disappeared on me and up in the ring. Jerry Calhoun saying, get out off the ring to Steve Borden. And Hickerson dressed in street clothes. And here we go, Dave.
Well, I tell you, Hickerson in here going against Jim Hellwig. Hellwig with a forearm nails Hickerson. And another one. Back on the ropes. Hickerson coming back with a right hand of his own.
I think Jim Hellwig made the same mistake a lot of people do when they look at Hickerson. They think, oh, well, you know, he's not in shape or anything like that. Let me tell you, he's messing with one of the
I'm not so
toughest
sure that
guys
there's a
you'll
little
find
shooting
around
going
here.
on here.
Anywhere.
Toughest one's ever been around
I
here.
think
It's
so.
Hickerson, and I think Hickerson proving that.
Oh,
at the
even when he
moment
was
anyway.
talking,
Fix Hellwig
he was
out.
shooting.
Showed he could handle that 285, did he?
Yeah. Hickerson says, you know, working out in the gym with weights and building the muscles is fine, but
The fact that two guys who were in the
that's going to end
business,
the match here.
like Randy and Michael,
As it's now
say he
2
was
against
shooting
1.
tells you how good Phil was. Because
Hellwig and Borden
we don't know if he
freedom
was or
fighter
wasn't
with
100%.
Hickerson back on the ropes. They whip him across the way. Double clothesline coming off of there. Now they both pick him up. No, got him high up in the air. Wow.
Hickerson now trying to face two of these guys, and both of them are big. Hellwig at 285, Steve Borden at 255. Drop another elbow, and Hickerson, who I am certain with no question could handle more than handle his own. Oh, there comes Steve Kurt with a big stool in hand. And while they may be young and green in the business, they weren't too dumb to stay around there and get their heads beat in.
They left immediately.
You better believe that. As Kern came in and took care of what action was going in there, he got rid of Hellwig and Borden and ran them out of there. Phil Hickerson, of course, in this unofficial match, gets the win on a disqualification.
Quick take, Michael, then William, then Pat, then Chris, Michael.
You know, and us talking about the shoot and whatever, and I'm sure there, you know, everything was certain to be a certain way, and heel Phil Hickerson is now babyface Phil Hickerson in front of baby faces, and he's turning. It's incredible, the psychology of how this whole little set. We could talk an hour about this segment because of how it developed. And the fact that in the end, you see Kern, who was one of the biggest baby faces in the territory, come in, not to save him, but to help him out. I mean, what is the genius behind this? I mean, it's incredible. Whoever came up with this, and this is just one example, this is classic Memphis style wrestling.
I guarantee you, this is Jerry Jarrett written all over it, without a doubt.
I agree.
You know,
William?
I thought that, you know, the comments even Phil was making when he was doing his promo, the jab about the steroids and the jab about, you say I'm fat. You know, I think that was all there. There was at least a little truth to many of those, just like it looked like there was some in the ring. So, you know, as you said, as Michael said, it's just fascinating how Phil manipulated them into being the bad guys.
This is 85. early 86. Pat, have you ever seen that video?
I don't know that I have. I've seen the video of the first time that Hellwig and Sting are in there, and it's they're trying to get get moving. And I've heard Jerry tell the story a lot of times of them coming in and just got some experience. But the thing that Michael said, talking about psychology of it, at its heart, Memphis is a heel town. It just really is.
Yep.
Absolutely. Anybody else that hadn't commented, Chris? Would you
All
like
I
to
would
say
say
anything about
was
that?
that all I would say is I was only 19 when this happened. I'd have lost a lot of money betting on those two ever becoming anybody because I thought they were terrible. Those forearms that Hellwig was hitting Phil with were not believable. They looked terrible. And like if you'd have told me they were going to be the Ultimate Warrior and Sting, I'd have lost $1 million.
We're going to skip a little bit now, and this is a video. When Adam was here over the weekend, I had loaded everything but this one video. And speaking of somebody else who became a big, big name, this is in 1988. This is 7 minutes and 57 seconds. I think it's the very first video that we on the screen, Adam, obviously. It's 7:57. I'm not going to intro it. We're going to comment about it when we come back on Talking Memphis Wrestling. It's 8:06.
Is going to be the CWA heavyweight champion, Phil Hickerson,
Breaking talk.
who will
Nothing
have a
mean.
title defense against the former champion. Max Payne will be the opposition. And here he is, CWA heavyweight title holder, Phil Hickerson.
That's right. That's me.
That laugh, I love that laugh.
You love it, don't you, lad, brother?
Yeah, I love
Check my head out. How you like that? That's good, isn't it, brother?
Yeah, I know.
Well, who is it?
Max Payne, former the CWA heavyweight champion.
Damn, I'm good.
Former part of it, right?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Phil Hickerson reign has continued, but
The way he's looking at
without
Lance.
some help
Chewing that
from
gum.
a few other things that I might say.
Like what?
Like what? Like some of the things that you use in the ring that you go in there when you try to go against somebody like Max Payne or Scott Steiner.
What do you want me to do? I do one thing, man. I go in there to win. That's what it's all about, is to win. And that's what I'm going to do it. Let me tell you something. I love this belt. I love it. I go out, I eat, I party, I carry it with me. I go to bed. I sleep with it. I'm telling you, man, I love this belt. I'm proud of this belt. What more can I say?
I can say this.
I am the champion. I'll always be the champion.
Don't rest comfortably with it because there's a lot of people who would like to have that belt.
There's a lot of people like to help Phil Hickerson, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Phil. Now, let's get back to what we're here to talk about. And no, I don't want any of that. I'm getting enough of it secondhand right now. Oh, yeah, Phil. Thank you a lot. Let me tell you this. Max Payne coming up is going to be looking for you.
Max Payne, I done beat him 3 times, and I don't know where the promotion comes up with. I told him I was going to give everybody one shot only. How come they keep running this big idiot back in here?
Yeah, well,
He's a glutton for punishment.
I tell you something else you turned your back on in a hurry, and that was Scott Steiner, the promoter.
Well, Scott Steiner, boy.
Promoters tried to get you.
Like I said, one shot and one shot only. You know, boy, that guy, I told you an airhead, and it proved it right. I went down there, just did exactly what I was supposed to do. Beat him, and that was it.
Yeah, you went down.
You know what happened?
What?
I think his parents made love in a flower bed.
Okay. Scott, now,
Hey,
please.
come on, idiot. This is my time, Jack.
No trouble out here,
This is
please.
my interview.
Here's Scott Steiner, people.
Ain't gonna be no trouble. I'll tell you one thing, Phil Hickerson. You done
Scott Steiner with a shag.
You didn't beat me the other night. That chain did.
Yeah, I beat you.
If you ask anybody in the arena, they'll tell you the same thing. Well, listen here, Lance. I tell you, when I won that Renegade Rampage tournament, I came across some money.
Yes, you did. About $250,000.
That's right. And I've been going to promoters all week, trying to get a rematch with this Phil Hickerson here. and he tell me, then
Phil Hickerson, the CWA champion, Jack. It might be Mr. Hickerson to you.
Yeah, I know. He wouldn't go for it. That's for a living
I'm a
fact.
man, my word. I said one time and one time only, brother, and you got your shot. That's it.
That's what you said.
that's what they say. They say he's not interested. Well, listen, Lance, I got something in this bag that I think will interest you, Mr. Phil Hickerson. I'm willing to put up my own money saying you cannot beat me. How much will it take?
Well, now you've got his attention. I can tell
What you got
right.
in there, man? Check that.
Hey, wait a minute. That's not yours.
Well, I want to see how much is in there, Lance,
He's
brother.
simply trying to make a proposition to you out
Count
here.
it out to you. Can you count? I'll count for you. 1, 2, 3.
Those, by the way, folks, are $100 bills.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
That's
That,
Steiner
in case you
math.
hadn't been able to figure it out, Bill, comes to $2,000.
Hey, you ain't the smartest man in the world. Hell, I know how to count, Lance Russell. Well, I will admit one thing. Now, you got my attention here now.
Don't touch the money.
I can feel of it, boy. Yeah, you got my attention. Somebody else. How much more you got in there?
Don't worry about it.
He wants to know, are you interested in
I'm
going for money?
considering. I'm considering.
You're considering.
Let me
Okay.
think about it.
$2,000 he's putting up of his own money just to get you to agree to a match in there for the CWA heavyweight title. They're real and they're all there. 20 of them. You saw them as they came out.
Put up or shut up, Phil.
No, I ain't gonna do it.
Not going to do it.
Man, I spend $1 million booze a week. Done that right there.
And I'll bet you're proud of it, too. I'll tell you what. $2,000 he turns down. He's not interested, Scott.
Well, I tell you what, Lance, I can't.
He's almost
defer,
called
man.
Lance
I
Randy
figured you'd say
twice.
Something like that.
Yeah.
21, 22.
He probably rode with me to the TV.
26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Tell him how much that is, man.
Yeah. That
Don't you dare say it. I know how much it is. Whew.
Now, if you're interested in maybe making some extra money and you think you can beat this
Oh,
guy,
I'm
there's
definitely gonna make me some extra money, brother. I'll put it this way. My name is Phil Hickerson, right?
That's right.
You got my first name on the contract, but you ain't got my last name yet, Jack.
Bleed the kitty.
Got in there. yeah.
Will this get your last name on that contract?
Let me see, boy.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Come on, man.
That is a world of money, folks, in case you can't see it right here. $5,000 in $100 bills. And what are you sorting through it to find one with a different picture on it or something? It's money. It's
Classic
$5,000.
Lance.
He made you a business proposition.
What year is
Are you
this?
willing to put money up? I mean, put the belt up.
87
for that
maybe?
stack of money. That's all he wants to know.
Well, what it boils down to,
I'm looking at my notes.
and I'm gonna take the 5.
Whoa.
Come on. None of this out here. Now,
This is
a
88.
proposal for you. I've had trouble getting a contract with you all this long.
You fucked me to death all week on the phone. I can't get no.
I need a yes or no right now. Are you going to go in that match with him putting $5,000 up? Yes or no? We
Yeah,
got
I'm
the
gonna
match
take his
right.
$5,000. I'm gonna take it
No.
right now.
No, you're not taking it right
What's the
now.
deal? He
Here
said
it is. He's putting it up
$5,000.
for the match.
So you are accepting the match, and it is going to
I
be...
did what I couldn't do, Lance. We'll sign it $5,000 against the title. We'll put Scott Steiner's name.
Well, give me the
And
5,000.
If you beat him
Wait, beat him?
week, you will have.
Now, that ain't in the deal.
$5,000. Yes, it is the deal.
How is it?
Take it or leave it.
$5,000 he's offering for a shot at the title. You beat him like you say you can beat him so easy, you walk off with all the money. That's all there is. There's no point in humming and hawing about it. Let's see this.
Well, I said you was an airhead, brother. You just proved it. Now I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna take your $5,000 and still beat you.
Well, he accepted it, so
I want you to watch this money for me, and I'll get it from you after the match.
I will get it to the promoters and or to you. Fine.
The match was set up for the house shows, so we do that angle on television, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the people get to see that match with $5,000 at stake. I'm glad. I don't remember that, and I was part of the damn segment. I don't remember that. And Adam suggested that, and I had this thing. I was a little half-assed aggravated because I get my stuff down, but Adam, I trust his viewpoint and opinion on stuff, so I added it. That was great, great, great piece of business. We'll start with Chris and go to Pat, then Rusty, then Michael, and then I'll forget who I said first, but I think I said Chris. Chris, real quick.
So Michael, y'all were talking earlier about Phil being great on radio because he's entertaining.
Yeah.
Right there, we're all cracking up. He's doing a comedy segment. He's fantastic. I'm assuming ad-libbed, RH. You gave him the points you wanted him to have, and then the build-up, they did the 2,000, then the 3,000. Then the build-up was fantastic.
Pat?
I agree. It was just he worked it and worked it and worked it and had a little bit of Lawler in it. I never saw him as champion do a promo, and that was great. That was great. And he was the persona was, the redneck that finally made it. It's me. It's my life.
Doc?
And Chris said this could have been a stand-up comic routine. He was right up there with any stand-up guy. He could have gone on the road with that act, and just, made it the venue. Boy, he was good.
Michael?
I think I saw Phil Hickerson talk more on the past couple of promos than we've seen him talk in his career. He was really coming. He really had a feel of what he was and what he could accomplish and how he did it. And I think Pat and Chuck, or Chris rather, you guys are absolutely on target. He was a personality. And that's one thing, and that's what's suffering. That's what our business is suffering about right now, is we got no personalities when coming up that are under age 35 coming through the radio ranks. And he was a personality. And again, going back to a discussion we had earlier in the program, how could he cross over, vice versa? Perfect example.
Right now, this Chris Ellis, I am the executive in charge of this program. I decide what matches that go on this show. Out of the wrestling world, the people watching this show, and we've got a crowd back, the only person that'll be mad at me for this match is you. It's from July the 18th of 1985. It's 9 minutes and 5 seconds long. So not only do you have to watch this guy, you have to watch this guy for 9 minutes and 5 seconds. Pat's laughing right now like he was 2 hours ago when I told him that I was airing this on this show today, as we air this 9 minutes, 5 seconds video right here, right now on Talking Memphis Wrestling, with plenty to go. And this is a hell of a match, hell of a match, hell of a match. Know it all, hell of a match, hell of a match. 9:05, and here we go.
Let's go to the ring now. The action is underway. International belt at stake. Hickerson and Taylor. Here they go.
We're watching Chris's favorite wrestler. We have watched. We watched Phil with Rich and Gilbert. We watched Phil and Dennis and Dundee and Tojo. We watched Phil with the greenhorn in the future Ultimate Warrior. And now, after seeing brawls and street fight, this is a wrestling match with a scientific wrestler holding the arm bar on this match. And it says wrestling on the marquee, Mr. St. John. This has the makings of being a hell of a match, whether Chris likes it or not.
This tells you how great Phil is. Especially great Lewis, all right. You're showing the greatness of Phil Hickerson. He's got to carry this guy for 9 minutes.
And I think he really is feeling his oats that he has.
You know that
Phil,
Terry Taylor wore some of the thickest glasses out of the ring that I've ever seen a wrestler wear. Poor man was blind, and you're making fun of him.
He was a good athlete, no charisma, none.
He was the Red Rooster.
That was appropriate.
Let's look at how good Phil is. Any match was showing today. He's an all-around wrestler guy because we've seen him be a comedian. We've seen him get heat on the microphone as a heel. We've seen him get over as a baby face. And now we saw earlier that he was wrestling, and now it's the heat part of the match. And Phil is just one of the great talent, maybe the best talent I've ever seen that didn't go national. Michael, do you agree with that? Can you name any better than Phil Hickerson as a heel that did not go national?
Not in our territory, Randy, and without really giving some thought and some study to it, I don't know if there's any in any of the other territories, because back then there were certain wrestlers that didn't leave their territories, and they were rare, but I would absolutely have to agree with you on that point.
The interesting fact that 79 to 80, Phil went away, was injured, and did other jobs, and owned the nightclub, managed the nightclub. Then he came back in 84, and he had several more runs after that. As James says, Phil was an entertainer and a wrestler, and we have 5 minutes and 45 seconds left in this match. And look how agile, Pat,
Oh,
Phil
yeah.
is.
If I am not
Does
mistaken,
anybody know if Phil played like high school football?
yes, he did. He was
He's
an
athletic
all-league
for a
player.
big guy.
Oh, yeah, he moves so well.
He was an all-league player at Whitehaven. There's some pictures of him playing football. And one of the other wrestlers that came down the pike about that same time was in one of the pictures I saw. Just real quickly here, let me ask. Well, this match is, as you watch Hickerson, did he not break his leg in Louisville in like 79, or wasn't that the injury, Randy, or am I thinking of somebody else? Because I know Johnny Randolph told me about it, and I want to say it was Hickerson that broke his leg, and Randolph had to take him to the hospital.
That's before I started. That's around the time 79 to 80 that Phil went away for like 4 or 5 years. So that could, I don't know. I wasn't on the road yet. I don't know, but it makes sense. You might be right. You probably are right.
I'm taxing my memory there, and I think it was Phil. I don't think it was Al Green. I think it was Phil, because Al Green went away for another problem.
Yes.
All right, when y'all went to Jackson, was Phil really over in Jackson?
Yes. Absolutely. Called himself the King of Jackson.
Right. That's a good, somebody compared him to Jim Neidhart. That's a pretty dang good comparison.
Except Phil was a better worker.
No,
Yeah.
no question. But as far as build and athleticism, similar.
This is
Right, they were both big guys who can move well.
No doubt. This is our tribute to Phil Hickerson on Talking Memphis Wrestling, and we appreciate everybody watching tonight.
The way they're both working here, methodically working through this, it's really, you don't see that anymore either. The foot on the rope, you don't see that anymore.
Back then, you didn't see it a lot from the babyface.
That's true.
He was such an accomplished technical wrestler. Look at that.
Backside.
Slap it.
So close.
From a selfish standpoint, I love. Look at the sunset flip of
Look at
Tim.
that, Phil.
Phil, he gets so good.
300-pound guy doing a sunset flip. That's
Unreal.
This is fun for me to watch matches that I did commentary from, and Lance obviously let me do it, and I'm enjoying listening to a younger Randy call this match. I would have been 23, 24 years old. Thank you, James.
On the second rope, ready to put it away, Lance, and he flies. Beautiful. 1, 2, oh. So close.
I say this so many times. Look at the referee with
Ref bump.
That's Terry's finish. The referee was knocked down. Phil establishes there that Terry could have beat him. Terry goes to look for the referee.
Oh.
Watch Phil Hickerson as he caught him.
Over the top rope.
Over the top rope. Almost on top of a cameraman. Now Taylor hops back in the ring. Taps him and caught him with the right hand. Caught him again. The referee's still out.
Wow, driver.
Caught again. Hickerson's trying for a...
Took a hell of a bump on that apron.
He did.
Yeah.
The top rope. Man, alive, 14 minutes in.
That had to hurt for sure.
Who's the referee, Randy?
I think that's Jesse Allen, part of the Tom Renesco crew. And somebody asked him shortly after this, didn't Terry Taylor go to Bill Watts? He had already been to Bill Watts. He went in '83. This is when he didn't have a full-time run here. This is when he returned. And this finish, Phil got away with the top rope thing. And then the referee caught Terry Taylor. And the heat is Terry is leaving, or Phil is leaving with the championship. Just a hell of a match, Quick thoughts of that match. If you can say something good, say something good. If not, tag up with somebody else, Chris.
Now look, Terry Taylor's a good athlete, and he can work. I just didn't, and he had no charisma, so I wouldn't pay any money to go see him. I mean, that's my deal. I mean, he looks like a wrestler. He performs like a wrestler, but you got to be able to talk on that stick to be a wrestler. Phil makes anybody look good and works with anybody well, so it was a good match.
Pat, Phil Hickerson, Terry Taylor.
You know, I was watching them, and I think Terry Taylor's serviceable in the ring. I don't think he's anything special. I think he's, good-looking guy with good hair, and good hair guys get over sometimes. But I was watching Phil, and he's a little older then, but he was moving great, and he had that classic late 60s to mid 70s beer gut heel work for him. If he had gotten a body on him the way he could move, that guy could have gone somewhere. Not that Memphis wasn't a good place to be, but I mean he could be, because he was much quicker than he looked to me.
William?
Oh, yeah. When you saw him do that sunset
flip,
geez, how many guys could do it that fast? Not many guys half his size couldn't do it that fast. So did Phil not leave that area because he didn't want to leave, or did he never have the opportunity? I mean, I kind of got the feeling he didn't really want to.
No, he wanted to stay home with Anita and his family. Michael read the obituary earlier, and we were probably in the show, Michael, with the obituary for sure. That was good stuff. Michael, you have any quick thoughts to talk about the Terry Taylor, Phil Hickerson match that we saw?
First of all, I want to congratulate Chris Ellis on being so eloquent and describing that. It was very well done, my friend. Very
Golf
well
clap.
done.
Golf clap.
And I will say this about and Chris, I want you to hear this. I think Terry Taylor was a good cookie cutter wrestler, but I think Phil Hickerson was the ultimate professional heel.
Yep.
And a hell of a baby face as well on the short term, for sure. Absolutely. Richards asked me how many times was Terry Taylor in and out. He had one full-time run, and then he was in and out a couple of more times, no doubt about it. I want everybody to listen to me now, because according to Phil Hickerson gets no respect. This is a three-parter, and we're gonna go quickly through this and then get comments. So you guys pay attention, because you're gotta wait a minute before you sum it up. First one, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Phil Hickerson gets no respect as we continue the Phil Hickerson remembrance and tribute on Talking Memphis Wrestling at 2 minutes, 14 seconds.
International heavyweight champion Phil Hickerson, and I guess you thought you were through with Terry Taylor, brother. He doesn't give up.
I want to say this right now, and I want to address this to Tom Renesto and Eddie Marlin and everything. I don't know what they've got against me, Here it is, a local boy that come down to Jackson, Tennessee, and I win this title from Terry Taylor, right?
Yeah, you did.
And ever since then, they have done everything in their power to give me every kind of match against everybody in order for me to lose this belt. I don't know what it is. Here it is, Terry Taylor. I beat him right there in Jackson. The next thing I know, I turn right around here in Memphis, and not once but twice I had to beat him twice in order to keep the belt. And then the next thing you know, they bring in 7 times world champion Harley Race. It took me twice, right back to back, man. I don't know what they got against me, man. Here it is, I'm out here just trying to make a living. You know what I'm talking about. And here it is again, they have gone to the whole thing. They have gone again and brought Terry Taylor back. Why? To do one thing is to try to make me lose this belt. I don't want to wrestle Terry Taylor. I'm looking for better things, and Terry Taylor's a pass to me. But no, man, here it is. Terry Taylor.
Look how tough Phil looked, man. I wouldn't want to screw with him, even if I had a gun.
Look at his cheek and his forehead.
That forehead's cut up.
And his teeth, or the lack thereof.
And I'll guarantee you, I'm going to beat you so bad, I'm going to make you. Mama don't recognize it.
Looks like your face got messed up a little bit in
Don't worry about my face, man. I'll tell you what I'm going to do to Terry Taylor. His mother would disown him if he even knows who his mother is.
Oh, that was really smart. Okay, Phil Hickerson, the international heavyweight champion, and Terry Taylor, I can guarantee you, will be wanting to walk out of there with that belt around his waist. We've got action back to the ring in a moment.
Part 2, Phil Hickerson gets no respect. 4 minutes, 26 seconds. Let's watch now.
Okay, we're about ready to get into action. We've got a tag match coming up. Phil? You're supposed to do your talking in the ring.
Shut up, man. Just listen to this. I want to know, here it is, Phil Hickerson, international heavyweight champion. I'm not getting no respect, none whatsoever. You realize that? Nobody. I don't understand it, man. Here it is. I come out here, I beat Terry Taylor. How many times, Lance Russell? 3 times.
Okay.
Harley Race twice, but I still not get no respect. And here it is. I can't believe I heard Jerry Lawler come out here and say, what? He couldn't get a, partner or something? You know what I mean?
Austin Idol is heard in the...
Well, let me tell you something, man. If King's back there and he can hear anything, he's got the toughest wrestler right here. I don't know why he's back there calling Dundee or Jimmy Valiant or what. They probably find Valiant somewhere. He's on the passed out in the gutter somewhere. And Dundee, man, it's a known fact. He don't want it. He don't want no part of the law. He don't want to be no tag team. I don't understand why he don't pick me. I don't understand.
Well, I can understand, Phil, why he doesn't pick you. But what I don't, why? Because who in the world knows what you're going to do in there? He's going to get his head knocked off.
Slaughter's been champion around here, man, 7, 8, 9 years. Everybody shows him respect. Everybody knows him worldwide. But here it is, me from Jackson, Tennessee. No, they don't want to give me no world recognition. I want it, brother. So like I said, man, all he's got to do is ask.
You would want to...
I'm fixing to get in here, man. Together, man. Could you imagine that? Together? That Lawler...
You want to get in with Lawler.
We could beat the Freebirds in a matter of no time. We could beat the sheep herders. We could beat the road warriors. And, man, look at all the recognition we get. I love it.
What you're saying with all of this international title, you're still not the big
right.
man.
Nobody wants to get... You don't show me no respect. You don't like me. I know that. I can see it in your eyes. And all these people see. But now I'm going to get up here. You see them two over there?
I see them.
If I don't beat... In 2 minutes, I'll shave my head right here. Come on, with it, myself.
Okay, let's go to the ring. Phil Hickerson.
This is going to be a one-fall, 15-minute time.
I don't beat him in 2 minutes. I'll shave my head.
423 pounds. Both out of Mississippi, Jerry Garman and Benny Traylor going against him at a total of 521 pounds. From parts unknown, the spoiler, his partner from Jackson, Tennessee.
Now, who's the spoiler?
Hickerson.
Frank Morrell.
Okay.
The Angel.
Yeah.
Bell sounds, and it's going to be Phil Hickerson. Phil Hickerson asking the spoiler to take a seat at ringside. Hickerson on the way in has said he will win in 2 minutes, or he'll shave his head right here. Well, let's see. Hickerson has made some wild claims before on this television program, and in a couple of cases he has backed them up. Let's see what happens here. He's going against Jerry Garman and Benny Traylor. Jerry and Benny both young wrestlers. They do not have anywhere near the size or experience of the Phil Hickerson and the spoiler.
Say what? They're bumping for him, though.
Hammers him.
Did a great job.
He came off the ropes. He hit him with the upper arm. He just...
Randy, did y'all keep a ring at the TV station?
No, Buddy Wayne's house, and he was bringing on a Friday night.
We're 1 minute into the action.
After the spot show.
Warner said, Bill doesn't need me in this one. He's just standing there paying attention. Hickerson grabs him. One knee, 1, 2, 3, and Phil Hickerson. In a minute, 15 seconds, he did, in fact, beat his own self-imposed time limit. Take a look at how he did it here, as it was all Phil Hickerson off the ropes. Ooh, he nails him, and then right up there, he pulls him back out of the corner so his partner can't help out. And then with one knee, pins the shoulders down, count of 1, 2, 3 falls, and Phil Hickerson in a minute, 15 seconds has the victory.
Now we go to part 3, the last part of No Respect for Phil Hickerson. 3 minutes, 21 seconds. 2 more videos to go after this, and we'll wrap her up. 2 more great videos included some good Michael St. John work.
Okay, we're going to be back in the ring in just a moment. We'll be looking at Coco Ware, and you're not Tom Branch.
I'm back.
No.
I'm having a little problem, Lance. Let me just say, I made 2 phone calls. I got a hold of one person. I didn't get a hold of the other. I tried Jimmy Valiant first, and I wasn't able. There was nobody at his home. I called in. Jimmy is currently wrestling over in the Mid-Atlantic area in Charlotte, North Carolina. I called the booking office there and was able to talk to Jim Crockett. The problem being, a lot of people want, there's not only wrestling in Memphis on Monday nights, but there's wrestling, in different cities all around the country. Monday night happens to be apparently just a good night for wrestling. A lot of the different areas have their major cities, the wrestling on Monday nights, and Jimmy is booked in North Carolina, already booked in a title match over there, and so it's not going to be able to get him out. Dundee, for some reason or other.
Don't come out here, please, causing any trouble, Phil.
And no, wait a minute. Anyway, let me tell you. Anyway,
and
Bill Dundee. I talked with Bill Dundee, and I heard Hickerson what he said out here earlier, and apparently there is some sort of problem. Bill won a match over Bowtie, and he was supposed to get a shot at my Southern title, and he said he was still waiting on that shot, and I said I don't even have the belt anymore, and he said, well, I'll wait and come in when you do have the title, and he wants to wrestle me for the title for some reason. Anyway, Bill Dundee is not coming. But, Lance, I have a lot of telephone numbers here. There are a lot of guys around the country that don't like the Freebirds. I was just thinking the Von Erichs possibly, or somebody like that. So, anyway, I'm going to make some more phone calls, and I will get somebody.
Put that book up, brother. You don't need no quarter to call anybody in that book. You can talk to me. I'll be your partner, man. Hey, together, Lawler, me and you can whoop anybody in the world. In the world, I'm telling. Tell him, Lance Russell, that Lawler and Phil Hickerson can beat anybody in the world.
Phil, we know you're tough, but I don't think
we can
anybody
retire
trusts
everybody,
you.
man. The free birds, the sheep herders, man, the road warriors, you name it. And, boy, we'd be in lights.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, we'd be in lights, Lawler.
Names and lights, right?
Right.
Let me just say this, Phil. You know, you're as easy to see through as a painted glass. The problem with you is you want recognition. You want your name in lights, right?
Sure.
You're the international champion.
Right,
I'll
and
admit.
no respect out of it, too.
No respect. I'll admit that you are a tough wrestler.
That's right.
You know, you beat a lot of good men. Terry Taylor, Harley Race, you got the title. I'll admit all that. But you want the recognition that you think you deserve. And I think that what you got in your mind, Phil, is the way that you're going to get all the recognition, as you said, worldwide, the way that everybody would be talking about Phil Hickerson would be, he's the man that turned on Lawler when Lawler let him go. And when I'm going against some guys, when I'm wrestling against the Freebirds, you've already seen what they're capable of. I got to have somebody, Phil, that I can trust. So thanks, but no thanks.
Trust is the word, and that is exactly. You can't blame. Hey, all I'm telling you, you want to know why. Yeah.
The boy's crazy. I'm telling you, we can beat anybody in the world.
Yeah, particularly him. The three of you jumped on him all at one time. Okay, we're going to talk to...
They end up having the match, and we will see that match in a few minutes, and we are short on time with a lot more to go. Quick thoughts on the series of No Respect, Phil Hickerson. Pat Trammell, quick thoughts, then Chris, then Doc, then Michael.
I've never seen it before. He carried it off well over several weeks.
Okay. Very good thoughts there, Chris.
Yeah, it's just very well thought out and planned. The way they're developing, it's great.
Rusty?
Oh, it almost reminded me of Rodney Dangerfield getting no respect. It was great.
Yeah.
Michael?
Time takes time. Let it bake. Let the yeast rise. Perfect.
Now, we didn't get to see the payoff as far as how Lawler agreed, but we did have the match in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum in August of '85. This is Hickerson and Lawler against the Fabulous Freebirds. It's 7 minutes in length as we watch on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Having a little confrontation with Gordy and Lawler.
Gordy and Hickerson, that'd have been a heck of a fight.
Yeah.
In the ring.
I don't remember the finish, so let's see if let's take a poll here. Chris, is Phil going to turn on Lawler, yes or no?
No.
Pat, yes or no?
Of course he is.
Rusty, yes or no?
No.
Michael, yes or no?
I know the answer, so I'm abstaining.
Tag on Terry Gordy.
I was there and don't remember, so I don't know the answer.
This is when Buddy Roberts left, right?
We're about to find out.
Yes.
Is so big.
We've got 5 minutes and about 40 minutes, 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in this video. There's one more video to go.
See, to me, Gordy and Hickerson are very similar.
Explaining to Hickerson.
Yeah, Gordy was a great worker, just like Phil.
Yeah, I mean, like they're big, thick, raw bone country boys.
I think Phil was a little bit more dyed-in-the-wool redneck than Terry. Terry was a little bit more hip.
Hickerson reaches out, grabs Hayes by the
I don't know,
hair,
Salty
bumps him
Daisy,
with a couple
Tennessee,
of
it's pretty redneck. Isn't it?
Been there, done that. I agree. But again, the Freebirds was more of a hip, the whole hip cool kind of thing.
Different generation, right, Mike?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he takes Lawler down hard.
Tell you the truth, Freebirds compared to Phil was a drinker, and that's all. Maybe the little wacky-backy from time to time, but basically a drinker. And there was nothing bad that was ever made that the Freebirds didn't do. They're the first to tell you that. I'm not saying anything out of school.
They were taking those marijuana pills, according to Nick Lewis.
Absolutely.
Sad but true. Sad but true.
Lawler decked again.
This was in the career of Gordy where he was really gaining weight. When they started making money, they started eating more than egg sandwiches, and Terry started putting on some pounds.
Ended up getting overweight. Some people, Phil was overweight. I don't think if he would have just been a normal 220 pounder, I don't think it would have worked. Do you, Michael?
I think his quote unquote beer belly added to his physique
Yeah.
and to his persona, without a doubt. I want to say this is about the age. I think Terry was only about 22, 23 years old right here.
He was young.
I think Phil would have been big, like where the Bruiser and Crusher were over that area. I think Phil would have been big there.
Yeah,
Those
that's a good
factory
call.
workers, beer drinkers.
I think that is very well said. Very well said, Chris. And I think Phil would have gone over in that Indianapolis, Dayton, Cincinnati, Detroit kind of territory. I think he could have worked for the Sheep very easily. Again, he didn't want to travel. He didn't want to leave home.
1, 2, 3. There's a tag on Terry Gordy. Lawler cannot get the tag to Hickerson.
I love Gordy. I just wasn't a fan of Michael Hayes.
There's a tag. The referee didn't.
Michael Hayes could talk, though. Even when he was 17 years old, the guy could cut a promo.
Terry Ray Gordy was born April 23rd, 1961. I was born December 61. He was born in Roxville, Georgia. He passed away on July 16, 2001 at age 40 years old. Listed cause of death is a heart attack.
Look at the crowd.
Hickerson moves Gordy into the table. Terry Gordy slammed over the table. Lawler picks up a table, but Hayes grabs him.
I was reading something about Phil's career. Said he had over 6,000 wrestling matches. I don't know how they kept count of that. If he kept
no way
of it or what. That's pretty amazing.
Good crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum. Good brawl. Gordy and Hayes, the fabulous Freebird, who debuted in Memphis before they had the Freebird name in 1979. We played that on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
For Phil to have had that many matches, that would have been 22 years of wrestling every day.
Yeah, that's what it said.
That might have been inflated because there were several periods of times where he took off for 5 years.
All right, now, Randy, where is this? What was that picket fence?
That was just that separated the back row of ringside to the back of the Coliseum. To keep going, you go back to the dressing room.
Hayes' head slammed into the ring post.
Now, Randy, on super sellout nights, wouldn't that area also been standing room only?
They would add bleachers and seats, and yes, it would be. So this was absolutely not a sellout. but a hell of a strong house.
As they fight their way back.
I think we enjoyed that, Phil Hickerson and Jerry Lawler, Phil as a baby face. So now, one more video to go. And I'm trying to think of how I want to set it up. It's labeled Another Wild Memphis Brawl. It's 10 minutes and 8 seconds. It starts with a Eric Embry interview, and I don't know how to fast forward it through that son of a gun's interview. Michael St. John comes out of that as the host of the program. This again is labeled Another Wild Memphis Brawl, one of Chris Ellis's favorite pieces of business they've ever been. It's 10 minutes, 8 seconds, 10:08. Our last video, then we'll wrap this sucker up with final comments.
But before he left some comments. Let's hear what Eric Embry has to
are
say.
you feeling okay?
Before I talk about the big upcoming match that I'm in, I want to say something to you, Tom Pritchard. The talk's going around, man. In every arena I go to in the Mid-South, everybody's talking.
I hated this
everybody's
guy right
talking
here.
about me
Who
and
is it? If his
Eric
job
Embry.
he succeeded because I could.
And I'm in Dallas.
Eric
Embry.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I'm in Dallas, and me and you got to meet. We got to get together and talk this
It
thing
looked like
out,
he needed a
Pritchard.
shower.
So meet me tonight at midnight at the old hangout where we used
You know,
to
he
meet all the
lived when he
time.
was in Dallas for
you know
quite a
where
long
it's at,
time. He
Pritchard.
lived
Meet
in
me
the
there at
sportatorium.
midnight.
He didn't even
And
have
now
an
you,
apartment. He
Eddie
just
Marlin,
lived in the
what are you trying
sportatorium.
to do, man? What are you trying to do to me? You don't have enough guts
He's one
to
of,
confront me
and
face to
in all
face.
seriousness,
You don't ever come out
when
on
it came to
television
a
anymore. You
wrestler's
don't ever come to see me in
mind,
my
having a
office.
wrestler's
Every time I go
mind
hunting
and
for you,
being born for
the
the game,
secretaries say you're out.
Eric
Well,
was
Eddie
one of the
Marlin,
few I ever
a
came across.
guitar lumberjack match. You got to put lumberjacks around the ring with guitars.
He was huge in Dallas, but never
You
got
know,
to be that big anywhere
I
else.
had nothing to do with Billy Travis interfering in the match. Had nothing to do. It's not my
He's the one that
Eddie
pulled
Marlin,
down the
that Lawler
sign
and
when
the
they
White Boy
changed
has
from
enemies. It's
world
not my
class
fault
to
that Travis don't
USWA.
like me.
I remember that.
I had them
I
both
remember
down.
Mick was
Me and
Cactus
P.Y.
Jack
beating them
then.
half
He
to
was on
death.
there.
And then Travis come and stuck his nose in it. And Travis, don't stick your nose in my matches, man. So Jerry Lawler, Dirty White Boy, you gotta have some friends around the ring with guitars. Well, it's real simple, Lawler. There ain't a one of them tough enough with a guitar in their hand to lay me out. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get my hands on the guitars, and I'm gonna bring them in the ring, Lawler, and I'm gonna beat you and White Boy within an inch of your life. I'm gonna help you back up to your feet, and then P.Y.'s gonna knock you back down. And then I'm gonna get you back up again, and I'm gonna bust another guitar over your head. And you know what's gonna happen at the end of it, Eddie Marlin? I'm coming out of the match with a souvenir. Yeah, a souvenir for you. I'm gonna save a piece of the guitar, and I'm gonna find you, Eddie Marlin, and I'm gonna stick it where the sun don't shine.
Dave Dowdy, referee Paul Niggers, as we await his opponent, and here he comes through the curtain right now. From Japan, P.Y. Chuhai, returning to the wars of the USWA, and what a tough customer this man is. And in one way, either directly or indirectly, involved in the formation of the USWA. Let's ring the bell, get this one underway. P.Y. Chuhai up against Dave Dowdy. Big weight advantage for Chuhai. And the Japanese martial arts style of P.Y. Chuhai, very definitely of effect immediately in the ring. Been on a successful tour of Japan, I understand, in the Orient. P.Y. Chuhai using those karate blows and those chops, schooled by Tojo Yamamoto, has teamed at times with flamboyant Eric Embry, and boy, what a tough combination they've become. But the martial arts nature of P.Y. Chuhai is, boy, just look at him lay those chops in. Wow, another one to Dave Dowdy. Dowdy helpless right now in the ring. Chuhai sends him into the ropes, catches him with the knee. Jerry Lawler coming back out. He mentioned that he may be out for some comments. Lawler coming around the ring. Chuhai taking a look at him. Jerry the King Lawler making his way over to the desk. In the meantime, P.Y. Chuhai with that face lock raking at the face of Dave Dowdy.
Michael, excuse me for just 1 second, but I just wanted to ask you, are you feeling okay? Are you feel fully recovered from what happened to you earlier?
I feel okay here.
Your mind's not, you're senses are not addled or anything like that?
No, I'm okay, really.
So, I mean, you don't consider yourself to be like brain damaged or anything, do you?
No, I'm okay, really,
Okay,
Jerry. I
fine.
appreciate
Well, I was wondering because you certainly wouldn't be. You're not a stupid person. I mean, you're an intelligent person. Wouldn't you consider yourself that? Huh?
I hope
I
so.
went to Vanderbilt.
Well, I consider myself fairly intelligent, and we have got a lot of really intelligent wrestling fans that are watching this show and are sitting right over there right now.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, I don't want those people out there to think that you and I are stupid. You want to know what I'm getting at, don't you?
Yeah, I don't follow you.
Well, what I'm getting at is you're sitting here calling this guy P.Y. Chuhai, and everybody that's watching this TV and everybody sitting over there knows that Hickerson from Jackson, Tennessee. And when you keep calling him P.Y. Chuhai from Tokyo, Japan, the people might think you're crazy.
Well, Jerry, I just
call it like you see it. Call him. It's Phil. Look at him.
Well, Jerry, I mean, the man wants to be called P.Y. Chuhai. If he wanted to be called Jumpin' Jack Flash, that's what's on the sheet. That's what I'll call him.
I know it, but the people out there, and you really know, and I know that he is nothing but big fat Phil Hickerson, and that's all he is. So just, let's call him that, okay?
Well, okay, I guess. Wait a minute.
My name is P.Y. Chuhai, don't forget it.
Now, your name, big boy, is not just Phil Hickerson, but as I said, big fat Phil Hickerson, and everybody knows it. Is that right?
He comes out here in his great expose, right? He's going to expose everything, right? Well, let me expose something to you, big boy. I want to know who made you a king. Let me tell you right now, P.Y. Chuhai, I can be P.Y. Chuhai just as much as Jerry can be a king. Now,
also, your big expose, your big revelation about me is that I'm not a real king or something. Is that it?
you're not a king. There's not 1 ounce of blue blood in you. The only blue in you, buddy, is probably a blue tick hound.
Well,
Phil's proud of himself.
I mean, is that all? Is that your big expose on me? Is that all you got to say, huh?
I'll tell you what. Maybe I'm going to expose you for what you really are, Lawler, because you're nothing but a slime bag, and it's been that way for years. You've got these people and rednecks out here fool. I'm going to tell you what kind of guy I am. I'm going to expose you for what you are. Let me tell you something about your family life. I'm going to tell you. Now, let's just get...
You're going to talk about my family life? You want to talk about my family life? Let me talk a little bit about your family life.
You don't talk about my family, okay? You don't talk about my family.
Uh-oh.
Let me tell you something, Lawler.
Lawler and Hickerson going at each other now.
Holy cow.
Lawler just nailed Hickerson. Oh, there's Billy Joe Travis. Oh, with the guitar.
Lawler sells a guitar.
Lawler going after Travis nailed him with the guitar. P.Y. Chuhai Pearl Harboring him.
Pearl Harboring him. All right.
Pearl Harbor, Michael. Great use of Pearl Harbor right there.
Holy cow, double team on Lawler. Here comes Bill Dundee. Superstar Billy coming to Jerry Lawler's rescue. Travis and Dundee locked up Hickerson and Lawler. Here comes Bull Payne and Samantha. Bull Payne and Samantha. Samantha's got a belt. Samantha's got a belt. She is waylaying Bill Dundee with the belt. Lawler being double teamed by Travis and P.Y. Chuhai, and Samantha is waylaying Dundee. Here comes Dirty White Boy. There's one from Bull Payne. Dirty White Boy. Now Dundee's got the strap. Dundee going after Bull Payne. It's gotten crazy in the studio. Dundee has chased Bull Payne out. In the meantime, Lawler with a chair on Billy Joe Travis. Dundee chasing Samantha with that belt, and he is letting her have it. It is a madhouse in the studio. Billy Travis up over the desk. Bull Payne on Dundee. Here come
Burt Prentice.
Lawler and Hickerson still paired off. It is crazy in the studio. We've got to get some order here. Here comes Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller. Jarrett's got a can. Going after one of the PYTs. There's one for Hickerson. What a brawl.
That looked like Dusty.
Completely out of control. The fans are on their feet. The wrestlers all over the arena here, all over our television studio. We've got to get some help out here to get some order restored. Robert Fuller in the ring with one of the PYTs. Jeff Jarrett in the ring. Lawler has got Billy Joe Travis. In the meantime, full pain at Samantha. Now Dundee's got that strap again. Hickerson nails Dundee. There's Dirty White Boy nailing Hickerson. Billy Joe Travis being nailed. Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony. Lawler, Jarrett, Fuller. Finally, we're getting some folks out of here. Oh, my.
That was good work, Michael.
That was taxing. The one thing about the brawls in Memphis, you didn't want to oversell them, but you sure the hell didn't want to undersell them. So you had to pace yourself. But that was one. I think at one time I counted 14 wrestlers, 12 to 14 wrestlers out there.
It was a hell of a Memphis brawl. Now what we're going to do, real quick tapes, because it's after 9 o'clock right now, just at the 9 o'clock hour right now. Chris, we'll start with you. Sum that up real quick in your last take.
Well, for people watching that don't know, that is my first memory of my friend Michael St. John. So when I finally got to meet him for the first time ever in life, that's what I had to tell him about it. That because I didn't grow up around him like I did Randy, so it was an honor for me to get to meet him and become friends with him, and that's just always been a significant memory in my youth. Is that moment.
Doc, your recap of that last segment real quick again, and your last take of the show today. I think the show's been fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. No, I really enjoyed it. That last set was also one of my very favorites of all time. And I just want to thank you again, Randy, for having me back this week. This has been one of the best shows I've watched that, we have had here.
All right, that's very good. And this is what we're going to do at this point. I'm going to ask Michael what his short memories are of that setup. The line, I want to know Lawler coming out and say, that's really big fat Phil Hickerson. I want to know if did you know in advance that he was going to say that line and that was going to start the brawl. Then after you make those comments, then pitch to me, I'll close, I'll throw it to you. I want you to then read the Phil Hickerson a bit again and close the show up. So respond to that angle we just saw, throw it back to me, then I'll throw it to you. Here's Michael St. John, his remembrances of Chris Ellis's favorite thing Michael St. John was ever a part of.
First of all, Chris, I'm honored, and the honor is for me to know you. So thank you very much for those kind words. You asked if I knew in advance. Before the matches started, Lawler told me he was going to come out during the match, and he said, just make a big deal over P.Y. Chuhai. He said, and he didn't say he was going to expose him, but I sort of got the thing that, he was going to come out with something. So I probably said his name twice as much as I would normally say a wrestler's name during that segment. So that part will lay to rest. As far as my final comments on this show, I want to say it couldn't be done without you, Randy, and without Adam in this panel. But I think tonight, Phil Hickerson would be proud of what this panel did in honoring the life of somebody that didn't get as much respect. We had that segment. Didn't get as much attention nationally, worldwide, that he deserved as a wrestler. But to all of us that knew him and worked with him and appreciated his body of work, we were witnessing then one of the greatest heels and thus one of the greatest heel tag teams in the history of our sport, in my opinion. I think Phil would be proud.
All right. You know, this is what I do, put shows together, and I don't put a lot of pressure on myself as the person that creates the show, puts it together. No pressure. I've done it a million times. Hosting the show, no pressure. Done it a million times. However, I was nervous for this show because, and it makes me feel so good, Michael, that you said Phil would be proud, because that was my goal sitting down at this desk Friday, starting to look through video. Is I wanted, funny you said that. I guess you can read my mind. My goal was to make Phil Hickerson proud. My goal was for people from all over the world that watch Talking Memphis wrestling that might not have known of Phil Hickerson because he was in and out of Memphis. He is maybe the greatest talent ever that stayed the entire career in Memphis. He would have exits from the wrestling business. He wouldn't be traveling all over the world. Phil Hickerson, one of the great heels, one of the great, maybe the great tag team wrestler of all time. He is just absolutely unbelievable. I'm glad King of Kingsport saying great show and tribute. And I want to throw this in. Adam, if you want to jump up on the comments, and several comments ago from Bo had a comment to Michael St. John about wrestling coming up in North Alabama. He's added another date. If you can go scroll up in the comments uh, and find Bo's comment if you can. Hi, Michael. For the final take, big news. Southern State Wrestling is coming to Scottsboro and Fort Payne, Alabama. So that is a comment for there. Guys, good. Sometimes it's pretty hard, and we always go over when we have a full panel, and it just is. But everybody here, I wanted to be on this show today. Everybody, Phil Hickerson more than anybody in the world deserves a full panel, and he got it. I love Phil Hickerson. Great, great guy. Tough son of a bitch. I guarantee you, Phil Hickerson. My prayers, my thoughts, everything out to Anita Hickerson, a big part of her life for a long time. It's now gone. I'm asking for prayers for Anita and Phil. God bless your heart. You're what wrestling was meant to be. Now I want Michael to go ahead and read the obituary again, Michael, if you would, and then close it out. That's it for Rusty, for Chris, for Pat, and myself. And here to read that obituary, give his final thoughts, and close up this show for Talking Memphis Wrestling on the 26th day here. Here's Michael St. John. Good night, everybody.
Phil Hickerson, age 79, died at his home on Wednesday, May 20th of 2026. Phil was born in Humboldt, Tennessee on October 4th, 1946, to Jesse Oliver and Bobby Ruth Henderson. He lived in Idlewild, Bradford, and Memphis while growing up. Phil graduated from Whitehaven High School and joined the Marine Corps in 1964. Phil met his future wife, Anita, while she was working in Washington, D.C., and he was stationed at Quantico, Virginia. They were married January of 1967, made their home in Memphis, Tennessee, and moved with their son Terry to Jackson, where their daughter Catherine was born. Phil began his wrestling career with a co-worker from Owens Corning. He wrestled from 1971 to 1996, wrestling in several states, including Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Indiana, Kentucky, Canada, and worked in Japan and Texas in the 90s. A celebration of life will be held at 2 o'clock Saturday, May 30th, at Sanford Hill Baptist Church in Henderson, Tennessee. Visitation will start at 11 and go until the service at 2 at the church. Our life, love, and respect go to Phil Hickerson. May God have you rest in peace. Good night, everyone.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill and special guest